So let's look at what the data is telling us. First and foremost, we know about a bit. This will give you an understanding. If you do not know Ekiti State, you've never been here, this gives you an understanding about this state. The state was created in 1996, I mean, among several other states that came at about that time. This was in the era where the military was still in power. This was under General Sani Abacha, created, it was one of the states that was created. It has 16 local government area. At the moment, there are 2,444 polling units. At the creation of the state, the polling units were not as much, but 60 local government came as long as the state has been in existence. So 1,059,360 registered voters out of 2026. The PVC collection rate, which is amazing, in 97.1%. And I do know that the people of Ekiti State are politically aware, rustic. They love their pounded yam and egusi. Homogeneous people speaking almost the same. Educated also. I don't know if they are more educated than where I come from, but they're very educated.
They are more educated.
They're very educated people. You have a lot of professors. It's almost one professor in Ekiti State. And it's the home state of the likes of Baba Afe Babalola, very respected. One of the oldest lawyers in the land. So yes, that's a brief background on Ekiti State, just at a glance.
Yeah, but this is particularly interesting. And one of the things that we said was if you've recorded 97.1%, our expectation is that this 97.1% is a true reflection of the people who have their permanent voters card. Because some of the things that have been observed in the last couple of days where voters cards are being retrieved from people, or they talk about cloning of voters cards or taking images of those, we hope that the actual people actually got their PVCs.
Not some folks collecting them on behalf of...
But having said that, this is also an indication that in terms of the political behavior of people in Ekiti, they seem to be receptive of democratic participation. Therefore, if you've got 97%, our expectation is that at least there should be 80% turnout in tomorrow's
If they could collect their PVC, they could as well do the voting.
Yeah, that's our expectations. But
again,
projections,
so the question will be 97% of PVC collected as of the last CVR.
That's right. That's right.
So INEC is calculating the CVR, the last CVR, which was closed. You know, there's a special CVR done for Osun and Ekiti.
Yes.
Then there was a general CVR, but it was closed at some point. But this is the percentage of the PVC collection of the CVR that was last done.
No, actually, it's the current one as of a few days ago.
Yeah.
Because there were over 34,000 people who got on the voters register after the 2023 elections. So this is a cumulative figure because the PVCs were produced and they were distributed between, I think, the 4th to 11th of June. And so this is where the figures actually stand at the moment. So let's give the people of Ekiti the benefit of doubt. We believe that as a people, you have an opportunity to exercise your franchise, and please make good use of this opportunity because it only comes once in 4 years.
Yeah. So let's also tell you that, of course, we told you earlier that over 1 million people are registered voters. Of that number, we're hoping that we have close to this figure. We have less than 600,000 people voted the last time around. But then it's interesting that the largest number of voters in the state are students.
Yes, I think the trend cuts across the entire country. When you look at the percentage of young people on the voters register, they're somewhere around 47%. And so it's not surprising that you see this figure. And what it tells you that, yes, though we're a young population, you still have younger people who dominate, our voters register. The biggest challenge is we've not been able to convert that figure into turnout. And so there's a disconnect between that figure and what we see show up at elections. And I think, Shaun, that is where we've got a problem, because in that particular gulf, you have the question of trust. Because a lot of these students are not showing up because they either don't trust the electoral process, but at the heart of this is that governments and governance has really failed to deliver its promise to the people. And so if people can't connect the quality of their livelihood to democratic participation, they aren't going to show up at elections. And this is why political leaders, if they care about democratic legitimacy, they need to consider and prioritize delivering for the people. Because when people feel that when they vote and they transfer their rights into a certain class of people in the ruling political elite, that those people will take decisions that better their lives. And what they're simply asking for is not too much. It's security. It's the quality, of the food that they eat, the air that they breathe, and their welfare. Yeah. That is what the voters actually seek. And that social bargain is what the voters have an opportunity tomorrow to not only renegotiate, but to reclaim, from this political class.
If this is anything to go by for even all the politicians, it's the fact that when you look at it, it's easy for you to get a vote as a candidate in this election. You know why? If you have done well in terms of governance, or as a politician, if you have convinced the students, and if you have 90% of them voting for you, you are home, you're coasting home to victory.
But you need to also look at this category. You can see artisans and traders.
And even farmers and fishermen and women, they're also
exactly. Those three categories of people.
The state is agrarian.
Exactly.
There are three major occupations that are predominant in this state. Public service, farming, trading. Because those who farm go then to trade. And don't forget, the geography and the topography of the state is such that it's sandwiched, it's landlocked. It has about 4 states bordering Ekiti state. So it's also as an agrarian state, and even from way back in the Second and First Republic, even before independence, Ekiti state and so many of the communities in Ekiti state are known for farm produce that they give out. And I'm not sure if you have taken the Ekiti pounded yam.
Amongst those three categories, who do you think are the very committed traditional voters at elections?
I will say that it has always been students have never taken elections seriously. They sit at home and watch.
And that's the most unfortunate thing.
But really. I think a lot of the times we see farmers and artisans, they usually commit themselves. Anyways, they are not able to go to work. There is a public holiday and there is curfew. So a lot of the times you see their commitment. And the other arm of voters that I see that have always committed, I know there are less than 10,000, are the housewives.
Yes. But because we cannot also disaggregate the gender distribution of the farmers and also traders, but when you look at trading, you also think that majority of them are women, because when you look at previous elections, not just in Ekiti, you see encouraging turnout of women for elections. The most saddest tale is that the parties don't consider them worthy enough to secure candidate nomination. And when you look at Ekiti, none of the parties presented a female governorship candidate, whilst you have majority, of this sort of categories of people who are actually women. So I think there's a lot of mismatch that we really need to address if we're really serious about inclusive politics or inclusive development.
Yeah.